Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge.
And let's talk horror.
Today we are doing a review on dangerous animals.
So, a little synopsis of the movie. When Zephyr, a savvy and free-spirited surfer, is abducted by a shark-obsessed serial killer and held captive on his boat, she must figure out how to escape before he carries out a ritualistic feeding to the sharks below.
Now you guys don't even have to watch the movie because we just told you everything that happens.
I hate synopsises now. They tell you everything.
Very spoilery for sure. But we are going to talk about the positives, the negatives, and we are also going to spoil the film more than this. So please check out Dangerous Animals.
So if you're watching this on the day of release, this film will be released on Friday in theaters. If you're not, maybe it's already streaming on Shudder. But make sure you guys are checking it out. But for now, let's get into the positives.
So some of the positives, there really are some funny moments, maybe a little throwback to Baby Shark. Really makes you just chuckle the way it plays out. It really works.
Some genuine funny moments in this movie, but the sharks look great
They actually
in
do.
this movie until they don't.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of great practical shots of sharks that look really good.
And there's also a lot of practical ocean shots, even the underwater shots look pretty decent, honestly.
I would prefer that to a lot of the other films we've seen in the same type of genre.
Yeah.
They did really well with the practical work that they did. And this is just a terrifying idea. And I love the tagline to this movie. The tagline to this movie is, "You would rather be in the water." And to me, that is the perfect tagline for this movie.
Honestly, who is the dangerous animal here?
Right.
Because a lot of the times humans are
way scarier.
Yeah, absolutely. Tucker, speaking of villains, he is so good. He is he has a little bit of charisma about him, so people feel safe and kind of trust him. And then he is really unhinged and scary.
Easily one of my favorite villains since the Grabber
from
the Black Phone.
He does a really great job.
I can't talk too much about it yet. We'll talk about it in the spoilers, but the things that he does is incredible. And the actor that played him was so good and convincing.
He gets off on these tangents about stuff that he really does know a lot about. But it's just
talking about sharks, talking about marlins.
Yeah.
He's extremely intelligent. He's extremely well spoken, which makes it easier for him to lure in his prey.
People trust him for sure.
There's an attempted degloving scene in this movie that is extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's really hard to watch. You're just ooh, it's one of those moments for sure.
We'll talk about that more in the spoilers because it gets even worse. But at first you're like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
Yeah.
So.
It's also a unique story. If you didn't read the actual synopsis and you just are, seeing this movie and you're going into it, you might think it's more like a Jaws, the sharks are trying to get them and they're fighting off sharks. But the actual story itself is really unique.
And the reasons behind what Tucker does, I think, is actually incredible. So, and there's moments with the sharks that are filled with anxiety. Obviously the sharks do take the background in this movie to the real dangerous animal.
Yeah.
But the moments you do have with the sharks, whether it's the deep sea, swimming with the sharks in the cage, or something else we'll talk about later, the moments with the sharks really, and I'm somebody that would love to go swimming with the sharks. I would love to get in the cage. I'd love to go swimming with the sharks. I would love to explore the bottom of the ocean.
These are
things.
Anxiety even.
She wants to jump out of a plane. No, thank you. I want to swim with the sharks. No, thank you. So I think either one of us will be able to do these.
When they're under the water and it gives me anxiety. I can't breathe when they're under the water. I don't like underwater stuff.
And the way that they captured the anxiety of what these sharks also can bring, I thought was really, really well done. So those are some of our positives for dangerous animals. Now, let's get into the negatives.
So some of our negatives, we did say that the sharks looked really good until they didn't. And the CGI sharks didn't look great. I can't really say what happened because it's spoilery, but it didn't look so good with the shark.
They do practical and then CGI with it, and the attempt is good, but you could definitely point out which scenes are practical and which ones are the CG sharks. To me, I can't speak for Ashley on this one, but the storyline with Zephyr and Moses really seemed forced and unrealistic to me. Zephyr is our main character, and Moses is this guy that's not good at wienering. So those are the two, like, their intangible storyline to me, it didn't work at all.
I mean, it seemed unnecessary, I guess, really.
They tied it in at the end.
We didn't really necessarily need their whole storyline at all. Scenes that drag on far too long. There's certain crane shots. Our villain just dancing crazily, like just I guess showing how unhinged he really is.
In a moment like that, I feel like less is more.
Yeah, but I mean, this was an entire 4 fucking minutes of him just dancing.
Yeah. To me, there's too many unrealistic things rolled into one movie.
Yeah.
Everything had to go exactly perfect for the movie to go the way that it went.
It's just a lot of okay, you got away with it once, but that many times?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
How did this person know that this was going to be happening to be there at this moment?
Right.
Like, stuff like that. Way too many things we were just like, get the fuck out of here. There's no way.
Yeah. There's a point where Zephyr, she shoots an emergency flare gun, and that it doesn't look good at all.
The ending flare looks great.
Yeah.
There's 2 different flare shots.
Which maybe the ending one was more practical. I don't know. But
the one inside the ship?
It wasn't, no.
Was not. And it did not look good. And again, it's very hard to shoot a real flare at somebody.
Yeah.
I get it.
Dangerous.
Yeah. But there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of really dumb character decisions in this movie. Where you're literally scratching your head going, why did you do that?
When I said before, there's a lot of stuff that, okay, you got away with it once, but that many times, we got to change some shit up here. This is silly. Also, Zebra can hold her breath for a really long time.
She reminded me a lot of Richard from Creepshow.
I can hold my breath for a long time.
When she was in the water, that's all I thought. I was like, wow, she can hold her breath for a long time. I was like, I think I know her dad.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, she can hold her breath for so long underwater, and an unrealistic amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, how long could I hold my breath underwater if my life depended on it? I don't know.
Might be more than 2 seconds.
Possibly, but probably not. So yeah, those are some of our non-spoiler negatives of the film, guys. So now we are going to get into spoiler territory. Like I said, if you're watching this day of, the movie will be out on Friday in theaters. Mm-hmm. If not, make sure you are checking it out on Shudder or where it is streaming. And for now, let's get into the spoilers.
All right, guys, so now we are going to spoil the film. So Tucker, he is our villain, and he shows us this really gnarly scar from what he got bit by a shark when he was younger.
Shark's fault.
Yeah, it wasn't the shark's fault. But it sounds like one of Heather, one of the girls on there, was like, nobody was watching you, and he was like, I'm alone. I was alone most of the time.
You're building sympathy for him.
Yeah, you're getting his background. He's not evil. He's just misunderstood.
Yeah, sure. Heather and Greg go out to swim with the sharks with Tucker because they missed their trip to SeaWorld. So they just went and randomly found him, luckily. And he was like, yeah, sure, I'll take you out. And he makes it very obvious for us. He's like, so no one knows you're here.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, why? And he's like, just want to make sure you got your last will and testament. And they're all like, ha, 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 ha. He's like...
Yeah, for real though. And even when Heather's really scared to go in the water and stuff. Yeah. So when they come back up out of the cage,
you have to come out of the cage because it took Heather a little bit to be able to get into the water.
This is the part where we were talking.
Shark.
Yeah, the baby shark. So when they do come back up, Tucker, he just fucking stabs Greg
right in the throat and pushes him into the water.
And Heather's just screaming, what the heck is happening?
Tucker looks back at her and he goes, welcome aboard. And then she just starts screaming and you're like, damn. And she screams right into a title card. Where's James A. Janice? I need him for this one. Well then, we this is where we meet Zephyr, who becomes our main character. And, she meets her friend Moses, and they hate each other at first, and then they smash, and she leaves early in the morning before they can get breakfast, and blah, 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 blah. Well, then Zephyr, she gets kidnapped. Tucker kidnaps her. The next thing you know, she's waking up.
Yeah,
very scared.
She's handcuffed to a bed in the bilge of the boat.
Which is the basement of the boat, and I didn't have to Google that last night when we were writing this review to figure that out.
I was like, you didn't? Because I didn't know that.
I did not want to say the basement of the boat. So.
I would have said the basement of the boat. You wouldn't know what I meant. But both girls are actually down there handcuffed.
Yeah, and they try to use a wire from Heather's swimsuit, which they called it an underwire. Is that like a...
Yeah, that's the underwire. That's what holds those babies up.
Well, they try to use her wire from her underwire, which is also something I didn't have to look up apparently, to get out. But as soon as they try, he brings them food, and of course the water's drugged, so they both pass out.
Yeah, so Tucker, he puts Heather in a harness on a crane and lowers her waist deep into the water.
He's been chumming this area.
Yeah, and so you see all like the blood and stuff, and you see sharks just tearing her apart.
And he's filming it.
Yeah,
he's got a video camera and he's filming it.
Literally with like a VHS tape, like an old school like video camera.
I did love that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, she just gets torn
See
apart.
her leg floating next to her.
And you really feel bad because she really is just like a kid.
She's a kid. Like
she when they were down in the bilge of the boat, she was literally telling Zephyr like, my mom and me got into a fight because she didn't want me to come here.
I did love that moment. Zephyr's like, why did she want you to come? And she's like, because of this.
Yeah, and it's like, you know what? Mom is always right. Listen to your mother. Like, she knows. And now she's like, and now I'm never going to get to see her again. And Zephyr obviously is like, telling her a story.
Yeah, she's like, you tell her this when you meet her.
Yeah.
And then she's telling her jokes to try to cheer her up. What's the useless skin around a penis called? A man. And then, Heather's like, it's so true. And I'm like, now you're going to die. But he does call this the greatest show on earth. This is why he does this, for an entertainment for himself. And he records it. And what he does is before he does it, he cuts her hair. And then he puts her hair into a fishing hook. And then he puts it in the sleeve of the VHS with their name on it and puts it in a cabinet.
So he has this entire collection of videotapes.
Zephyr, they have a bathroom bucket, which also is very gross.
Yeah.
And she breaks the handle off the bathroom bucket to use as a weapon for when Tucker comes back down.
So when he comes back down to try to sedate her, she actually like stabs him into the neck with that like little plastic
Here's
part.
the thing though. She stabs him in the neck, clearly stabs him in the neck. But in the next scene, it's his shoulder pec that's hurt. So that was one thing. I was like, wait a minute. She totally stabbed him in the neck.
It looked like for sure. But he falls back and he hits his head on the other bed and gets knocked out. And this gives her time to get his key so she can uncuff herself. And then she's running and he wakes up from that. Because she goes for
more. Like, one, she didn't double tap here.
Yeah.
Stupid character decisions.
One, she should have sedated his ass is what I would have done. And then I would have handcuffed him. Like, a lot of stupid decisions on her part. But anyways, they're running up the stairs and he does stab her into her calf. And so she starts to get woozy.
She's upstairs and she's woozy and she's like, she picks up the tripod and he's like, you put that fucking thing down right now. Like right now. So she's like, and throws it overboard, which destroys him. Then she jumps overboard and she starts to swim away. But of course, right when that happens, she passes out from the sedative. He grabs a hook, hooks her, and brings her right back onto the ship.
Yeah. So then Moses, he watches a security camera.
He's been searching for her. Yeah. So they spent one night together.
But I mean, there was something there. He felt something, and
he definitely felt something.
Now her van that she lives in is being towed away, and she's really nowhere to be found. So he goes looking for her, and he has this app called Wayfinder, and he sees Tucker's truck. So he goes to look for him and see if he's seen Zephyr because they were both there at the same night. And he actually hears her yelling in what's that thing called again? The bilge. The bilge.
Like he goes to his door, knocks on it, and he for some reason just puts his head down on the boat and hears her yelling.
He thinks he hears her, so he goes and puts his head down and he can hear her down there. So this is when he breaks into the boat. But Tucker actually catches him and hooks him in the back. Well,
then Tucker gets on, Moses gets on top of him.
Yeah.
And starts strangling him with it.
And the neighbor, who Tucker is really actually mean to, knocks Moses out.
Hits him in the head with a board.
Yeah.
And then Tucker immediately kills his neighbor right after that. And it's just like, again, this neighbor walks in right at the right time. Moses goes to the boat, and here's this. It's just like, geez, come on, man. I literally wrote in our review, "Dear God," because like, come on, seriously.
Right.
Moses is up next in the harness, but he doesn't move once he's in the water, so the sharks leave him alone.
Yeah.
Tucker's like filming and shit. Then he brings him back on the boat and stabs the living like 6 times right in the side.
Just like get him bleeding. Yeah.
Then he starts to go lower him back into the water with the harness, but a helicopter starts to fly over. So he brings them back in and puts them both back down on the beds in the handcuffs.
Yeah. So this is when Zephyr. This is a really gnarly scene.
We talked about the degloving.
She breaks her thumb so she can try to like get it out of the handcuffs, but it still won't come out. So she literally bites her thumb off, like completely, like.
I think the reason why is because like she broke her thumb, and then Tucker came in and she like hit it, and in the time that she was hiding and waiting, it swelled. It started to swell, so she still couldn't get it off.
So she just bites her fucking thumb off. Like that's pretty hardcore for sure.
Yeah. So now Zephyr is put in the harness.
Yeah.
So now she's in the harness, and he's gonna make Moses watch her die, and it's just like.
So. And this is like the biggest shark ever. Like this is gonna be like the greatest
Jaws.
show.
Yes, the great white.
The greatest show on earth. And Tucker, he tries to like stab the shark with a harpoon. Like
I think it's a harpoon. It's really long.
I don't know.
I know
It
that later
looks
with a
like-
harpoon comes into play, but it's like a really long spear.
Yeah.
Essentially.
But it ends up falling in the water, and Heather.
Zephyr.
Zephyr, she grabs it and is like climbing up it, but he like scares her and she falls back into the water.
And the rope breaks.
So it breaks and she's in the water now. And the shark, this big ass shark, can like smell her blood from when she bit her thumb off. But she like hides her thumb, like she holds it and just holds really still so it doesn't eat her, I guess.
They also do a very, very obvious zoom on a scar on this shark. And I think the implication is
it was like
that this is the shark that attacked Tucker before. And I was still like, are you fucking kidding?
So Tucker's got the side, from being attacked by the shark, and the shark has like the scar.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, get the fuck out of here. This looks so stupid. So Zephyr sneaks back onto the boat, and he's looking for her. He's like, Marlin. He calls her Marlin because a marlin, the reason it's a trophy catch is because of the hunt. You know, the time it takes to get it back onto the boat.
Because they're tough as nails.
And it takes a long time to get it on. So that's why he calls her Marlin, because she's a good catch and she's really hard to, reel in, essentially.
Yeah.
But she sneaks back on the back of the boat, and she walks up and she shoots him with a harpoon gun.
Yeah.
For sure, this is a harpoon. Goes right through him. He falls off the boat, and he gets eaten by the great white that tried to get him when he was younger. And now it finished the job.
It finished the job, which is probably good because he's not a very good person. So good for you, great white. And then the movie ends with Zephyr using an emergency flare on the top of the boat to bring another boat to
like a party
save
boat.
them. Yeah, and she's like talking to Moses, and he's like out of it because he's lost so much blood, and she's like,
I didn't have a reason to be on land until now. The reason's you. And then
then he wakes up.
I was like, get the fuck out of here with that shit, man. She hooba-stanked him back to life.
She did.
Listen, the reason is you, Moses. He's like, oh?
He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I guess the wienering wasn't that bad then.
Yeah, okay, sure. So overall, like, this is it's a fun movie. Is this something that, like, I'm dying to watch again? No. But it's something that's definitely worth the watch. So I'm going to give it a 2.5. I'm going to say that it's fair to give this, a 2.5 out of 5. I did enjoy enough of the practical stuff to make it worth it. And like I said, Tucker alone is worth the price of admission. Like, that dude is fucking unhinged from how crazy he is to how solemn he is about recording and how serious he is about it to when he just gets goofy and starts dancing and singing. This movie did have a great soundtrack too.
Yeah.
Great soundtrack to the film, and the score is so fucking good.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there's a lot to love about this movie, but it just didn't quite hit the spot for me. I would still prefer this to like a Deep Blue Sea or something like that. I think the idea behind this is ingenious of having, using the sharks, but the real monster is on. Like I said, I love the tagline, "You're better off in the water." I think that's fantastic, and the movie did its job, and I really did have a fun time with it.
Yeah. creature feature type things isn't really my like, that's not what I
your
are
forte.
drawn to anyways.
Yeah.
But it is like you said, he is the actual monster. You know, sharks are just there to eat food, and they're not there to, you know, murder. They're there to,
Right.
you know,
To feed.
Yeah.
They
So
don't deliberately want to eat people.
he's definitely the monster in this one, and he is a good villain. He's very unhinged. And it is unique, like how many crazy ass people just go out and feed people to sharks. So.
Right. You're never going to find the body then.
Yeah, for sure.
So again, guys, we want to thank you so much for watching this review. If you haven't already, let us know down in the comments. What did you think of Dangerous Animals? What would your ranking be out of 5? We would love to know what you guys think, as always. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help build the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Those links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror.
Stay who you are.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.